I'm here today with Rachel Elmes. Welcome, Rachel. And Katherine Gobbi. Now, Rachel, you're from?
I'm from QBE.
And your role?
I'm the General Manager of Managed Fund Claims.
And it's great to have you here today. And Katherine, where are you from?
I am from Mercer Marsh Benefits as the Head of Consulting in Australia and the Head of Recover, a rehab provider.
And it's great to have you both here today. And welcome to the Personal Injury and Disability Management National Summit for 2023. Freshly off stage. Now, I'm going to have to read this because it's quite the title. Your talk today, which was excellent, by the way, well done, was Attraction and Retention, Creating a Workplace Culture and Environment that Resonates with the Key Values of Workers Today and Tomorrow. Question: what are the key values of workers today? An easy one to start with.
Oh my.
Yeah, there you go.
I think we skirted around that point within the body of the session. Look, I think one of the things that came across in the session today was just that alignment to purpose. I think, in an increasingly changing world, people want to get out of bed for a good reason, right? They want to derive really strong engagement with the work that they're doing. They want to feel that it has purpose and meaning, and they want to have an alignment with the values of the organisation that they work for. So for me, that was sort of the overarching value that employees are looking for today.
Agree. I think that, particularly in this sort of post-COVID world where really workers are questioning how they best use their energy and to what end, and wanting reassurance that they're achieving something that's going to make a difference to society and is worth the energy they're putting into it. So I think on top of that, I think we're expecting a far more active role from the employer in how we're supporting them to thrive in their health and well-being, and I think that that's a big risk at the moment. That's something that we can sort of never take our eye off the ball on. And then the other thing I think that's sort of that we all want is to be treated as equals and given respect, moving on from the sort of master-servant hierarchy of yesteryear. Yeah.
And it's got a great segue into my next question, because what challenges does that present for the modern day employer?
Look, I think there are enormous challenges, but it's also a huge opportunity, I think, to differentiate as an employer, right? So, I think deeply understanding your workforce, I think, is really important to understanding how you can then create an environment that people want to be a part of. Certainly in the keynote address this morning, we heard a lot about flexibility and, the ability for people to not be less productive, and, it's not about work anywhere, but it's actually flexibility to manage their health, flexibility to manage the work commitments and sort of work being anywhere. So I think understanding the needs of the different employees that work through the business allows us to shape the benefits that an employer can offer.
Completely agree. And I think that the way you understand those needs is stuff that actually doesn't cost anything, but that needs space and time. And that's a caring supervisor that is transparent and collaborative in their communication, and that makes reasonable accommodations, and that translates that policy from the top down on the front line every day with that balance of economy and empathy.
But as we also heard this morning, in terms of the risk of burnout, I haven't got time to care. I'm a supervisor with so much on my plate. I don't have time to care about myself, which is one of the things you just spoke about, let alone care about what you're going through. So how does this work? What are we dealing with here?
We've got to flip it on our head, right? I think number one, as leaders in this industry, there's the demands are enormous. I think the weight of responsibility on our shoulders to care and look after our employees, not because we have to, but actually because we genuinely want to. It's a really hard job working in personal injury. I think we have to care for ourselves. We have to be the role model for what good looks like when it comes to balance. We have to show that it's okay to duck out for a child's recital or, to hit the gym at 5 o'clock and that be a standing item. Whatever it is that that allows you to demonstrate that looking after yourself is going to provide a much more healthy and actually productive work environment for all of your people. And then it's about permissioning your people to do the same.
Exactly.
Giving them that language that you've used as a role model to that is acceptable here and would be accepted. But I completely agree that this is really, really tricky. And I think that it's a lot more than just attraction and retention and well-being. It's also psychosocial risk management, right? Our strongest line of defence is this frontline supervisory layer. And so as leaders, if we are not leaning into the fact that they are protecting us from potentially jail time of a catastrophic outcome of not managing change properly, not managing job demands, whatever it might be, then they are sort of the people who hold our freedom and our personal liability in their hands. So it would be crazy if we didn't focus our attention on how we create capacity and capability in that level, in that level of management.
Now, one of the questions I always have, right, because I see the evolving nature of work and the evolving nature of workers, especially the younger workers coming through the industry. I don't see it in the evolving nature of customers. I don't see it in a customer saying, well, it's okay you've gone to do self-care, but I need my question answered now. How do we balance the needs of our people with the needs of our customers? And the customer is used to rapid service. Everything's online. Banking is all online. Turnaround times of 24 hours is too long. How do we do this? That the customer's needs are X, my needs potentially maybe Y. Okay, so I think Rachel spoke really well about this before, which is the enabling technology and infrastructure, right? Which is the fallback position. If that person has done what we role modelled and go to the gym at 5 and something at 5:05 happens and needs that immediate attention. So I think that we do need to look at the technology and the enabling infrastructure and how we are automating and systematising as much of the sort of lower value work to give us capacity, and anyone who is there at the 5:05 p.m. Capacity to step in and support in that moment. But yeah, it's really tricky, and I think that there will come a point often for leaders where we feel under pressure at threat of losing a client, or we defend the humanity, the fallible humanity that is our workforce. And I think the only option we've got is to sort of take personal responsibility for how we can better improve the environment to help minimise the chance of it happening again. But the impact is not is not the cost of that individual human who needed to get to the gym, whatever it might be. And the individual human that needed to contact the person.
That's right. Yeah. I don't think we've solved for this, right? No. So I think the challenge of increasing customer demands, and rightly so, in every other service potentially they interact with, it is a self-service model, and they can access this information at times, and we haven't quite nailed that in the personal injury industry as yet. So from my view, it is actually about, as you say, removing the low-value tasks, but also looking at key person dependency, making sure that we've got more than one person available to respond to urgent customer needs, making sure that we're sharing that knowledge, because the risk is if somebody leaves, you lose all of that customer knowledge as well. So another way to tackle it is to build the capability of more than one person, so that we can respond to a customer in a timely manner.
The analogy I use quite often, and the people I work with are sick to death of it, but when I first started out, I was a superannuation fund administrator, and in the corporate sphere, right? And we used to get so many complaints when a super fund administrator would get promoted or move to another portfolio, and the employer would ring up and complain that they wanted their superannuation fund administrator back. And I look at it now, how many of us know who their superannuation fund administrator is? It is not relevant, because the whole industry, apart from obviously death claims and disability claims, but the whole industry is pretty much self-service.
Yep.
until you're virtually at retirement. And we're certainly not there in personal injury.
Yeah, so there's probably something that we could tackle here in terms of how we're managing expectations as well, right? So to your point, there was an expectation. It's evolved over time by design. And so how are we managing that narrative? And it's not something I've thought enough about, I think.
And I think your point too, if I can go back to your point, Katherine, about the noise, and in my experience, a lot of the time that we spend with customers is around payments or lack thereof or amount of, i.e. too low in somebody's opinion. And your point around, automation, getting rid of the noise, because as a case manager who it doesn't matter how much capability work has been done on me, I might be amazing, but if I'm spending the whole day dealing with payments that haven't gone through, I'm not adding the value that my role really dictates and that the customers demand. So I really agree.
And that it presents a situation where our best case managers would not go to the gym to solve for that, because that is their lifeline. It's how they pay their mortgage, and they know that so deeply, and it's hard to unravel that.
Yeah. It is. And I think it sort of as an adjunct to that, it is about reactionary responses. So often when there is that last minute call, it's because we've been busy doing all of these other low value tasks throughout the day that we actually haven't responded to the person, that's actually there, waiting for something critical or a decision to be made, because we've been so distracted. So never, I guess, has there been a time that we actually have to critically review what are the tasks we're asking our case managers to do, who come into this industry, wanting to help people and wanting to use their skills, to the best effect. How do we take that noise away?
Yes, exactly.
Happy employees and happy customers.
Now, you mentioned before, Rachel, about, I use the word challenge and you use the word opportunity, which I love, glass half full. The future of work, what's it mean for you? Challenge or opportunity?
Oh, look, it's an opportunity. Otherwise, if I didn't say that, I'd limit my career somewhat.
Who's listening?
It's definitely opportunity. I think the more that we empower our frontline staff to provide us with their pain points, come up with some ideas about how we can solve for some of those, the quicker we are going to be able to adapt to the new normal, right? So, and that new normal is constant evolution of what we do and why we do and how we do it. And this is why within my section I talked about mindset, because it's actually not having a fixed mindset where you've done that, you've fixed that process and it's done. It's actually about continuing to review it. Month in, month out, is this the best way and most efficient way to do things? So I think it presents a huge opportunity in harnessing the Gen Zs and everyone else who is far more advanced in their digital journey than I am to come up with the solutions. And I think that is actually the answer to the opportunities that present us as an industry in the future.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because I think there's so much pressure on us to fix something and then move on. And I remember a previous manager saying, the goal is that at some point in the future, when we have our one-on-ones, we won't talk about resourcing needs. And I just laughed out loud and I said, I'm a large-scale people leader, right? We will talk, it is the only thing really we should be talking about. And then we'll talk about our clients, and then if we get time, we might talk about the P&L. But there's this pressure on going, oh, well, you've fixed that. No, and the eye roll of wanting to raise it, no, we're not done yet. But yeah, for me, the future of work, I think that there's this interesting thing with my generation where we've kind of we've worked really, really hard within old power structures.
Yes.
So we've challenged it, and we've got women at the table, and we've got diverse voices, and we have a voice, a loud voice. Look at us, we're in front of a microphone. But we've been playing into the old power structures, and I think what this new generation is going to challenge us to do is to go, well, there's new power now, and it's far more equitable, and it's and everybody has power no matter what role you hold, and I think that opportunity is to sort of go with that, and for them to sort of teach us this new workforce that's coming through to teach me and my generation on what a different type of balance might look, and what achievement in my career might look like. And I think I'm somewhat intimidated by that, but I feel like it's potentially a really amazing opportunity
Do you know what, Kath? I totally agree. Like, one of my favourite sayings within my team is to ask for forgiveness, don't
rather than permission.
Absolutely. And that is my, comical way of saying, make a decision. Just as long as it's in line with your values, and you're not doing it for any other reason than that, make a decision. And if you get it wrong, make another decision.
Yeah, but do you know what, Rachel? That's a very brave management position that a lot of people, in my experience, are not willing to take. And old paradigms of control and authority and the way we've always done it. And I agree with both of you, in terms of just embracing what new ideas are coming through. It takes a lot to open up your mind to this without feeling threatened, challenged, abused. So, but the future of work is bright, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Gen Z are coming to save us all.
Good on you. And thank you both for your participation at the conference. Thanks for joining us in our studio today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having us.
It's our pleasure.